it's Ian from Mako Create. We've got another live stream for you today. It has been a while. You don't normally see me on this end of the camera, so hello, I'm normally the guy who's controlling all the buttons, but today we've got a special guest for you in the form of Jack. Do you want to say hello, Jack?
Hello, sorry, I'm trying to work out pressing the buttons and keep you engaged at the same time. But yes, some of you may have spoke to me in the comments before. I'm normally doing the back end, normally doing the website and stuff like that, but I've been very lucky today to get to engage with you on the camera and just support Ian out. So back to you, Ian.
Lovely.
Oh, sorry, bear with me.
That's all right. So yeah, go easy on Jack in the comments. He's kind of learning as he's going here, but he's doing an excellent job. Nice to kind of put a face to all the comments and everything that has been going out in the comments section as we've been doing other live videos. So yeah, hello, welcome back. It's been a while. Today we are going to do some photo editing fun with you guys. So before we get going, it'd be really nice if you guys can let us know, just give us a wave, give us a like, and let us know that you're here and that you're ready. And you know, if you want to tell us where you're watching from, that would be particularly lovely as well. We are going out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Periscope over on Twitter. So yeah, if you just want to let us know in the comments where you're watching us from, then we can say a quick hello back. And also, obviously, if you've got any questions or anything like that, stick them in the comments and we'll try our best to answer them for you as we go. So yeah, before we get going, big massive thank you. This whole stream has been made possible by the fantastic people over at Wirral Council and Wirral Libraries. So without them, we wouldn't be doing this. So big massive thank you. If you want to find out a little bit more about the fantastic things that are going on at Wirral Libraries, then just head over to the website that you can see right here, right now, and you can check them out. And also you might be watching via the Wirral Library Facebook page. So hello to you guys over there. Remember to hit that like button and remember to come over to us at Mako Create as well. Our Facebook channel is Mako Create UK. You want to give us a like and a follow on there as well. That would be amazing. So that's enough of me waffling. That's all the housekeeping done, I think. Let's have a go at doing some photo editing. Now, Photoshop is kind of this household name now that everybody kind of knows, and some people might have even been lucky enough to have a go at kind of playing around with. And everybody kind of knows what it is. It's when you manipulate images and you change things and you add things and take things away and that kind of thing. But maybe you've never actually got to grips with kind of like how it works and what you can do in it. We're not going to actually use Photoshop today, but we're going to use a free bit of software that is online. And the best way I can explain it is like Photoshop Lite or Photoshop Express, where it's not quite as good, but it's definitely a fantastic starting point. And that bit of software is called Pixlr. So in your browser, and basically all you need to follow along with me is a computer of some description, a PC, a Mac, a laptop, a desktop, it doesn't really matter, and a browser and an internet connection. So if you can head over to Pixlr, all you need to do is search on Google or wherever it is your internet browser, your search engine of choice, find Pixlr, which is pixlr.com, and give that a click. And this is what the Pixlr homepage kind of looks like. Now they do offer a few different products, a few different services. The one that we're going to be using today is the fantastic Pixlr X, and X stands for Express. If you give that a click, then you'll be taken to your project homepage. Now you can see I've got an example up here already. Yours will probably be blank. Unless you've used Pixlr before, you won't see any projects up there, so yours will probably be blank. But so long as you can see something that looks like mine right here, then you are good to go. So what are we actually going to do? Well, as you can see, I've already had a go at it, but in true Blue Peter style, it's kind of, here's one I've prepared earlier. We have got, this is what we're going to be doing today, recreating something like this. And you're going to learn a few skills in making this image that hopefully you can translate into images that you've taken yourself. So it is a bit of fun. It is a bit of kind of play, light-hearted kind of messing around. But the skills that you're going to learn will mean hopefully you'll go, aha, I can do that with my pictures, and I can learn and grow and get better at doing these kind of things. So you are going to need some pictures to work with. Pixlr is fantastic. It gives us loads of stock images that are free for us to use, but you guys want to use your own pictures. So how do we get our own pictures in there? Well, what I've done for you is I've prepared a little zip file that you can download, and it's got all of the pictures inside, and that is hosted on our website, which is makocreate.co.uk. If you've never been there before, stick it as a bookmark. Check it out. It's fantastic, even if I do say so. So go to Mako Create UK, and then what you want to do is head over to our What's On page. So Jack, do you mind just sharing that? Fantastic. Head over on the menu at the top. We're going to What's On, and then in this page you'll see all of our fantastic events that we've got going on, both online courses, and we're starting to do more and more physical courses as well, which is fantastic. And here we have the digital photo editing project, which is this is happening right now. So if you give that a click, then that'll tell you a little bit more about this project. You could even watch it from there if that's a good point. If ever you feel like you're falling a little bit behind on what it is that I'm doing, then you can pause it, you can rewind, or you can, this video will be online forever as well. So if you want to come back to it at a later date, this is one way of you coming back to press play on that. So if we scroll down a little bit more, you'll see loads of information, and then we're after this, download the example files here inside this grey box. If you give that button a click, then what it'll do in your browser is it'll download all the files that we're going to use in this example. Okay, so give that a little press and get those files so that they are on your machine in your downloads folder. What I'm going to do real quick is, just while people are maybe foraging their way through that task that I've just set you doing there, is just ask if we've had any comments or questions or anything like that. So Jack, is everybody happy? Has everybody got any problems perhaps? Hopefully not.
So we've had nothing come through yet, which I'm going to take as a bit of a good sign. I'm hoping that means that everyone is incredibly happy with what they're doing so far.
That sounds good to me.
Of course, I'm always happy to throw some questions and some polls out there to see if we can get a feel for what people are thinking. So, should we find out, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Yeah, that sounds like a great question to ask. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a photograph of me on the moon getting abducted by aliens, as you saw in the example before. But when you think, okay, I've got those skills now and I know what I'm going to do, you could transport yourself anywhere. So when you've got those skills, where would you like to go? That's what that question's all about. If you could kind of edit yourself into any location in the world, or even off the world, as you've seen in the example that we're going to do, where would you want to go? Do you want to go underwater? Would you want to go somewhere hot? Obviously, with some of the travel restrictions, it might be kind of quite nice to pretend that we can go somewhere nice and hot on a nice sandy beach or something like that. So let us know. For those of you watching on Facebook, hopefully there'll be a poll or a question up there now that you can let us know where you want to go. Okay, so hopefully everybody has been able to download those files. If you've done that, then what we need you to do is jump back over to Pixlr. So pixlr.com, and then remember, click on Pixlr X and we'll get taken to this page right here. So let's get going, shall we? We're going to create a new project. So over on the left hand side, you can't quite see that because of my floating head at the moment, but maybe I can shift myself over to, oh, there we go, cool. So we're going to press on that create new button over on the left hand side, and Pixlr is fantastic because you can create images to go absolutely anywhere. So it gives you lots of these templates. We're going to choose full HD. It's kind of nice and high resolution enough without it being crazy big where we're going to have loads of massive file sizes. So click on full HD. And if you want to get really technical, the pixels on that are 1920 by 1080. But don't worry if that doesn't mean too much to you right now. And then what we want to do is we want to give this a name. So I'm going to say moon landing. But you can call it whatever you want. Remember, this is just a test. This is just a play thing that you're going to mess around with, so don't worry too much about giving it the exact same name. And then we just press create. And then we get greeted with the Pixlr project page, which looks a bit like this. Now, we're going to cover some of these tools that you can see on the left-hand side. Not all of them, because there is quite a lot. It is a fantastic free bit of kit. We're definitely going to have a look over here on the right-hand side where you can see this navigation options and the layers options down here. But before we get started on absolutely anything, I want to introduce you to my favorite buttons in the whole wide world, which is this one right down here. It says undo and redo. If at any point you make any mistakes following along with me or just in general, then without panicking, without getting upset, then this is your go-to button. If you hit this, this is going to take it right the way back to the point before you made any mistakes. So don't worry, don't panic. I'm hoping that that's put everybody's mind at rest. So let's get going, shall we? What we want to do is head over to the very bottom option on the left-hand side, which says add image. You give that a press. Pixlr lets you insert images in 3 different ways. Browse, which means search on your machine for some images, which we have just downloaded some, but I'll come back to them in a bit. URL, if you wanted to be fancy and you've got an image that's already online and you know the address for it, you could put it in there. But we're going to go to my favorite option, which is stock. And Pixlr is automatically plugged into the fantastic website called Unsplash. And Unsplash is a royalty-free image website that basically everything you can see here, you're free to use. And there are some absolutely fantastic pictures in there. It's given me a default of waterfall. Yours will say something different. It just kind of throws a random word in there and returns some results for you to look at. I'm going to search for moon. I'd like you guys to do the same if that's okay. And then it shows us all of these images that we have free to use. And I'm looking for this one. It's actually NASA on Unsplash, and it's kind of got the surface of the moon at kind of like a little bit of an angle. It's kind of tilted a little bit like that. So if you can give that one a press, then you'll be presented with these 2 options. And we're going to always press add to current. If we wanted to start a whole new project, we'd press create new. But because we've already started a project, we want to add this image to that project. So press add current. And then there you go. It's put that lovely picture of the surface of the moon into our project page. So that's a fantastic start. This image is actually really, really massive, and it's really highly detailed. It's HD, it's high definition. So what we're seeing at the moment is kind of a zoomed in version of this. So what I want you to do now is zoom out so that we can see all of the image that we've got to work with. So over in the top right hand corner of your screen, under where it says navigate, you can see you've got the zoom out and zoom in buttons, the minus and the plus. If you hit the minus button, we can see we start to zoom out, and everything that we can see is our canvas size. But this big box that's around the outside of our canvas is actually that big giant image that we've just imported. And these handles will let us scale that image up or down. So all I'm doing is dragging on the top right one and the bottom left one, and I'm just going to drag it so that we can see a bit more of that fantastic picture, the surface of the moon. And I can move that up and I can move it down. So I can get it just where I wanted it. But what I want to do is I want this, rather than it being at this kind of wonky 45 almost degree angle, I want this to be almost like our horizon. I want it to be nice and straight across the canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to click on the handle right at the top. And then if I drag on that, that lets me rotate it around. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to get it so that it kind of looks straight, almost like it was the horizon of the Earth or whatever planet that we're on. And I'm going to drag it down so that it's sort of towards the bottom third or the bottom quarter of the screen like that. And then To deselect something, you basically just need to click anywhere around the outside. And there we go. Now, it doesn't look very good right now, but the important bit is this bit at the bottom. The moon bit looks great. Then the background, the kind of the space here doesn't look so great. And you can even start to see those checkered squares in the background as well. And what that is that's saying this bit is see-through. This bit is transparent, and ideally we actually want the whole of this area at the top to be transparent, because we're going to stick a completely different background in a second. So this is where we start editing our image. What we need to do is introduce you to a feature called Cutout. So on the left hand side, no prizes for guessing, it's actually the scissors. So if you hover over any of these options on the left hand side, you'll get a little preview and it'll kind of explain what's inside there and what it's going to do. So we want to give the cutout option a click. And at the moment it says select an image layer or rasterize text or element. So at the moment it says I'm ready to cut something out, but you haven't told me what it is that we're going to be cutting out. So on the right hand side, underneath layers, you can see everything that we're going to add. So all we need to do is click on that moon picture that we've just added. And now you can see over on the left hand side, it says, I'm ready to cut out now. Look at all these fantastic tools that we've got. So we're going to cut out the background of the moon, all that black area. Now, I'm going to show you quite a few of these tools as we go along, but we're going to start off with the magic cutout because it's kind of the easiest to use. So if you click on the magic cutout, it kind of looks a bit like a wand. And then in most of these modes, it's got two different options for you. It says keep or remove. I want you to make sure that it's got remove selected. And then all you need to do is click on that black area in the background. And you can see that Pixlr has a pretty good guess at thinking, okay, I think that what you want to do is get rid of that bit that's all together, all black like that. If it didn't do a very good job, then you've got this slider over here called tolerance, and basically if you slide that up or down, that's going to have it's either going to get rid of more of the same color or it's going to not quite get rid of everything. So it'll like differentiate between the different shades. So if ever that tool doesn't quite work, then just make sure that you have a little play around with that tolerance slider on the left hand side. So, but for me, it seems to have done an okay job. Now there's a few little bits. If I just zoom in here, and I can also show you another little feature as I'm zooming in. On the navigate option towards the top right hand side, you'll see we've got this little red square inside it, and I can drag on that, and that lets me move around my project, around my canvas. So if ever you need to highlight on a particular part of your screen, then you can use that red box up there, and you can also use your sliders that are on the left, on the right to go up and down, and on the bottom to go left and right. I should also mention that Pixlr is a free online service, so unfortunately you do get these annoying adverts that pop up. If they are in your way, you can just cross them off like that. They will come back, but it's a small price to pay for something that is free and pretty cool. So back to cutting out the background. So it's done a pretty good job, but you can start to see there are some holes in the surface of the moon now where we could see through. So the good news about the cutout feature is it's actually, the technical name for that is a mask. And what a mask means is that it hasn't actually deleted that part of the image. It's just hiding it for now to say, like, I don't really need it right now, but if you do need it to come back, so I want to get the surface of the moon back here, I can just paint that back in. So no prizes for guessing, but what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the thing that looks a bit like a paintbrush, and it's called the draw cutout. So if I click on that option up there, and remember we've still got our modes, we've got keep and remove. We were on remove before because we wanted to get rid of some bits, but now we actually want to put some bits back in. So we're going to switch over to keep, and you can see the little brush icon just underneath turns green. So green means that we're going to be adding bits. Red means that we're going to be getting rid of bits. But remember, it's not a permanent deletion. We can just, if we get rid of some bits, we can paint it back in. If we put some bits in that we didn't want, we can paint them out. So I want you to click over onto keep, and now what we can do is we can just paint those bits back in. So all that bit of the surface there that was accidentally deleted that we didn't want, I'm just going to draw them back in like that. And you can forgive it a little bit for thinking that it was black and there would be bits that we didn't want, but it kind of spoilt the illusion because the surface of the moon went a bit see-through. So you might just need to scroll left and right and just try and find all those bits that it didn't quite get. I'm going to rush this a little bit so that we can move on. You guys can take your time. Remember, you can come back to this tutorial, or you can rewind it, you can pause it and take your time with something like this. And a good tip would be to zoom in as much as you possibly can, and that's where you're going to really make sure that those details are correct and precise. So I'm just going to have a quick go at doing that. If this brush was a bit too big and we really wanted to get into the nooks and crannies, then on the left hand side you've got a size tool, so you can make the brush really big or you can make it really small if you've got some fine details to do. And the softness is whether it's going to be like a feathered edge or a hard edge. So if I started to erase some stuff there, you can see it's got a really hard edge, really straight edge as I'm doing that. I can undo that. Obviously I don't want that. Or I could have also painted it back in, so you can see here I've got my keep tool and I'm painting things back in. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to undo that like that. Okay, cool. So I think I've done an okay job there at painting back in the bits of the surface of the moon that were accidentally deleted by the magic wand. So I'm happy with that. We're going to zoom back out now. So up here in the top right hand corner in your navigate section, I could hit that zoom out button several times, or sneaky little trick, if you click on the percentages, it shows you at what percentage you're zoomed into, you get a load of defaults, and the top one, my favorite one, is fit. And what that basically means is it's just going to fit the image perfectly onto your screen. So if ever you zoomed in too much or out too much, just click there, click fit, and it'll go back exactly the way that you want it. So fantastic, we've got rid of the boring black background and we've got our surface of the moon. Now what we want to do is we want to put in a new background. So what we're going to do is go down to the add image button again, and we're going to go to stock again. And then up at the top here, you can search for whatever you want, whatever background you want to put behind your moon. Obvious suggestions would be stars. So if you click in there, you can see all these fantastic starscapes that are in there that are free, again, for you to use. You could search for NASA, see what photos NASA have put on there. And because I have done this before, there's some pretty kind of cool, I kind of like this one. So it's kind of some sort of nebula or something. You'll have to excuse my lack of space knowledge, but I'm going to click on that one. And again, it says, do you want to create a new project or do you want to add to your current project? We want to add. We've got something on the go. We don't want to start something fresh. We want to add it to our current project. So click on that. And then there we go. It just sticks every new image that we put into our project on the top. So it kind of feels like it's just kind of ruined everything at the moment, but that's where our handy feature over here on the right hand side, the layers option, comes into play. So what we can do is we can drag on these layers. So I can click on this one. You can see the one that I've just put in is right at the top. I'm going to drag it underneath that moon picture that we just did, and then voila. So try and think of this as layers that are stacked on top of one another or underneath one another. Now at the moment the moon one is on the top, so we can see that, and then that cool kind of space background that I've just put on is underneath. So you can stack them whichever way you want. I want it to be like that. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out and you can see that that picture that I've put in is massive. It's way bigger than the canvas that we're working with. So I'm going to scale it down a bit so that we can see a bit more of it. And what I kind of want to do, I think, is I want to rotate that right the way around so that we can see the top of the image so that the top is actually at the bottom. So I could just swing it round like that, but that can get a little bit crazy, especially if you're using a trackpad like me. So I'm going to undo that. And what we can do is we can come over here to the arrange feature on the left hand side, and you can see you've got these rotate and flip options. So I can just rotate that by 90 degrees so that it goes right the way around like that. And because it's not got any numbers or words or text or anything like that on it, then I am free to flip it and nobody would ever really know. So I can flip it around like that. And that's a particularly useful feature if you've used a camera or a phone that thinks you've took your picture in a particular orientation, but it's actually meant to be landscape when it's portrait or portrait when it's landscape. You can use these tools here to kind of get your images looking the way that they should. Okay. I think that might be a good point just to quickly check in, because we rattled through quite a few features in there, and we are kind of like 2 steps in. So I just want to check that everybody is following along okay. Jack, have we got any comments or anything like that?
I was about to say, again, I'm going to take it as a good sign that everyone is fully understanding.
Okay.
No, we've not really had any comments coming in. We had a hello from Timothy over on YouTube, so I'd like to shout back a little hello to him.
Hi, Tim.
But no, nothing in particular. I'll have a quick look at our question to see if we've got a response. And Lucy has mentioned, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? And she would go underwater.
Yeah, that's a nice one. You could definitely do that. And you could also put in some fish or sharks or kind of submarines or mermaids or anything like that. Once you've followed along with me, you'll definitely kind of understand how to do that. So that'd be cool. And we're also going to do, I should have mentioned this when we were on our website before, we're going to do a little bit of a competition, just a chance for you to submit your images to us. So I don't want you to submit your pictures of me. We're all kind of doing the same thing-ish at the moment. When you've done this, I want you to go away and make your own image and then send them to us. And what we'll do is we'll put the best ones of those up on our social media platforms for the world to see. So don't rush. Wait, follow along with me, and then when you've finished, go away, make your own fantastic digital art like this, and then I'll show you how you can send them to us, and fingers crossed we'll get them online for everybody to see. Cool. All right, so let's jump back to Pixlr then, and we can crack on. So at the moment, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Now, I want to move this picture up. I want to move my background up a little bit, but when I click on it, because the moon is the topmost layer at the moment, it thinks that I am trying to drag the moon up, and I don't. I want the moon to stay exactly where it is. It's kind of nice and neat towards the bottom of my screen there. So it can get a little bit frustrating, but that's where we have some features hidden away in the layers section on the right hand side. One quick one is, it's kind of difficult to see, it's really, really small, but there's a little tick box on every single layer, and if you give that a tick, that will make it visible or hidden. Okay, so you can switch layers on or off. If you needed to see what was happening behind a certain layer, then you can just hide it like that. But even better still, when you've finished with a layer and you think, yeah, that is pretty much exactly as I want it, and I don't think I'm going to want to change that for a while, and if you click on the 3 little dots on that layer, you get a few different options, and the one that I want you to press there for this is locked. It says lock that layer into position. So now, no matter how much I try and click on that moon, I can't move it, it's locked. I can unlock it if I do need to make some changes, so it's not a permanent thing, but then that just makes it a little bit easier. So now what I'm going to do is drag that space background up there so we can see the bottom of that image, and that kind of looks cool to me. I'm kind of happy with that. Yeah, so let's go back to fit so we can see it in all its glory. And now if we're getting really, really fussy, I don't know if you can see this on the stream, and maybe you can see it clearer on your version that you're working on right now. But that magic wand cutout tool, when we were working on the moon, it's kind of left a bit of a frame around the outside. I've just got this really straight black line that's going up, and it's going across the sky here a little bit. So you could spend a little bit of time getting rid of them if you wanted to. Now remember, this layer is now locked, so what we're going to have to do is unlock that. So you can click on the three little dots and go unlocked, and we can go back into our cutout tool and make sure that we've got the moon layer selected. And again, I'm going to go to draw cutout, and this time we're getting rid of bits, so we want to make sure that we've got remove selected. I'm going to make my brush size nice and big so it's easy to do. I'm just going to get rid of those annoying lines that are kind of really spoiling the illusion. So they went across there and they went down there like that. All right, that's just me getting really fussy, to be honest, but if you want to do the same, feel free. I'm going to lock that moon layer again so that it's not moving around when we don't want it to. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to put a photo of yours truly in there. Now, remember, this is just a plaything. I want you guys to take pictures of yourselves or your pets or toys or whatever it is. You can put whatever you want in there eventually, but we're just going to use a photo of me for this tutorial. So we're going to go down to add image again, and this one isn't in stock. There are no photos of me that I know of anyway on stock image websites. So we're going to go up to browse this time, and browse is where we can find all the pictures that are on the computer that you're working on. And remember, we downloaded those files right at the beginning, so they will probably be in your downloads folder. We click on browse, and then you just need to find those pictures. So for me, they're on my desktop because I've prepared them earlier, and you can see there's a lovely photo of me. There's some star background, there's the moon that we've used, and then there's a UFO, which we're going to come back to in a little bit. So find the one that is the photo of me. It's Ian_example_photo, and we're going to press open on that. And again, it says, do you want to create a new project or add it to your existing project? We want to add it into this one. And then there you go. It sticks it as a new layer right on top. And it's the same drill as before of what we've been doing before. We want to zoom out a little bit. We're going to rotate it round. And we are also going to scale it down using those handles on the corners. Now, I'm going to position, it doesn't really matter where you've positioned it right now. Just get it sort of in the middle so it's there for us to play with. And I will go to fit. So it zooms back in. It's our mission now to get rid of all of the blue wall and the ceiling and the light and the chair and everything that's around me. I took this in my office at home, so it kind of definitely spoils the illusion. I tried to take it directly under the light as if there's a light shining down on me, because there's going to be a tractor being taking me off into the spaceship in a little bit. So it's important to think about lighting and things like that where you can. So how do we get rid of the light and all the annoying bits around the outside? We go back to our trusty cutout menu on the left hand side, and this time what we're going to do, if you thought that the magic cutout tool was pretty special, this time we're going to try the AI cutout. So AI stands for artificial intelligence, and we're going to let Pixlr's brain try and figure out the bits that we do and don't want. So we click on AI cutout, and it says the machines are doing their thing, please wait. Again, it's a free service, so what it does is it just makes us wait for 10 seconds while it asks us if we want to go premium. You don't have to, we just need to wait a little bit, and then it will give you the option to continue. And hey, look at that, that has not done a bad job. It's got rid of most of everything, to be honest. And then remember, we can fine tune this. We've been doing this all along. So what we're going to do is, again, go to the draw cutout tool. We're going to make sure that we've got remove selected so that it's red. We're getting rid of bits, and I can just, with a nice big brush, I can get rid of my light at the top. And then for the finer details, and it's up to you how much time you want to spend on this, but I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go down a little bit, and you can see there's still little bits of my blue wall in the background. So if you were feeling really, really fussy, you can make your brush kind of small, you could zoom right the way in, and you could try and get rid of those blue bits that are kind of where the computer didn't do a very good job of getting rid of those. So you can just colour them in like that and gradually get rid of bits. I am not going to do a lot of this because I don't want to spend all day on it. You could take your time, really, really get into the nooks and crannies and get rid of everything that you don't want. But that has not done a bad job, I don't think. It's done a pretty good job. It's not going to work every single time for you. And I took that photo in a room where I've got a pretty plain coloured background. If that was a really busy background, if it was outside, then it might not do quite as good of a job. But that's where it's important to understand these different cutout tools that you've got across the top in the cutout menu. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. I'm going to go to fit again so we can see. And I am going to scale myself down a little bit more, get myself kind of over here. And I'm going to rotate myself in that direction because the UFO is going to be over here. And I'm going to kind of be zooming off in that direction. So you can put me wherever you want in your example. I'm going to do it there. That looks pretty good to me. Now, we want to add in our UFO. So again, go down to the Add Image button, bottom left-hand corner, and it's not a stock image. Well, it is a stock image, I should say, but it's one that I have found for you that's in that downloads file that you got before. This particular image came from a different website because it is a PNG. You might be familiar with file names like JPEGs. JPEGs, most photos that come from your phone or some cameras and things will be in a JPEG, but a PNG is slightly different in that it can already have parts of the image that are transparent, which means that we don't have to cut out this image. So if I press open on that, you will see, remember, go to add current, you will see that that has already got transparency on it, so we don't need to worry about using those cutout tools. So that's where PNGs can be really, really useful, really nice. So I'm going to scale that UFO to whatever size that we think is about right, and I'm going to tilt it over there like that, position it up here somewhere. That looks okay. And then I'm just going to go back down to my layer with me on, and I'm going to position me somewhere like that so that they kind of align up. That looks pretty good to me. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Kind of happy. So that's not bad. We can kind of get the idea of what's happening. I've magically gone into space. We put a different background in, and we've got a UFO there that looks like it's ready to abduct me. But we want to add some kind of special effects in there. We want to add an actual tractor beam coming down from the UFO so that it's grabbing me. So what I am going to do is go over here on the left hand side to our drawing feature. I'm going to click on that. Now it says you can only draw on image layers. So what we need to do is we need to add a new layer in. We're not adding a photo in, we're just adding an empty layer. So how do we add an empty layer with nothing in it? We go down to the very bottom right hand corner of your project, click on that, and it'll say, okay, you want to add a layer. What kind of layer do you want to add? You just want to add an empty one. So press empty, and you will see on the stack of layers on the right hand side, you've got a blank layer, then a UFO, then me, then your moon, then your background. So in this layer now, we are now free to draw whatever we want, and we could literally scribble in there, we could draw anything, and we can turn it on and off. But I don't just want to scribble. What I want to do is kind of draw a tractor beam. So if I was feeling particularly arty, I could try and draw one freehand like that, but that's kind of going to look a little bit wonky, and I want some really sharp edges in there. So rather than me drawing with our brush tool, we're going to go across to the shape tool, And then this lets you draw in structured shapes with sharp edges. So I'm going to click on the triangle, and then for the fill color, what we're going to do is we're going to try and pinch a color that's already in our image. So if we look carefully from the bottom of the UFO, you can kind of see it's got this bluey turquoisey hue coming from the bottom of it. I want to reuse that color. So if I click on the color underneath fill, then we get this color palette. And if I was feeling particularly fussy, I could try and kind of manually get that color back. But rather than us manually having to do it, what we can use is the Eyedropper Tool, which is this button right here. And what that lets us do is go into our image and find a color that we want to reuse. So I am going to find it around about here. That looks pretty good to me. If I click on there now, you can see that my fill color is set to whatever color we found on our image up here. So now when I draw this in, it is that color. So I'm just going to draw a great big triangle like that. I'm going to get rid of that advert. Okay, that's fine. It's obviously not great, but we've got a triangle to work with now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our arrange tool, and we're going to rotate it so that it looks like it's coming down from the spaceship. And I am actually going to scale it up a little bit more, and I'm going to have it come in right the way down like that, so it goes off the edge of the screen at the bottom. Yeah, that looks okay to me, but it's kind of just gone right on top of everything, and it's obviously spoiling the illusion a little bit. So what we can do is we can use our trusty Cutout Tool, and we can use this to erase or remove, sorry, not erase, it's not getting rid of, remember we can always paint it back in, but we can remove parts of the image that we don't want. So I'm going to get a nice big brush and start to get rid of the bits of the triangle here that we definitely don't want. And then what I'm going to do is zoom in, and we're going to use a smaller brush size that's got quite a lot of softness to it. So it's got like a feathered edge. And then what that lets us do is just paint away some of those sharp edges at the top, because what we want it to look like is that it's coming from that part of the spaceship there. So I'm just kind of feathering some bits out so it's kind of semi see-through. I've gone a little bit too far with that, so I'm going to press the undo button. And I'm going to press keep, and I'm going to do it the other way so I can paint some bits back in. Yeah, that looks okay. So let me go back to fit so we can see the whole thing, and that's kind of okay. It's there, but obviously now what you can't do is you can't see me. I'm no longer being abducted. I'm kind of being obliterated by this death beam that's coming down from the UFO. So I could just drag my layer up to the top there, and then we kind of get the illusion back. But what we're going to do is we're going to be a little bit fancier than that. What we're going to do is click on the layer that's got our triangle or our tractor beam on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click on the three little dots again, the ones that we showed you if we wanted to lock this layer, but this time we don't actually want to lock it. What we want to do is we want to play around with the blend mode. So the blend mode is the way that that layer is put into our project. At the moment it's set to none. So if I click down on that, you could have a play around with some of these different options are going to have different effects. So if we choose screen or overlay, you kind of get this oversaturated kind of effect. I'm going to go down to soft light, I think, because then what that does is it makes everything kind of not as harsh, and I kind of like that. So rather than us just simply sticking me on top of that layer, we've interacted with the way that that layer blends in with the rest of our project. So I'm kind of happy with that. If I was getting really fussy, I might just want to kind of make it a little bit narrower, but I don't want to spend all day on this. My OCD is going into overdrive here, apologies, but there you go. That's not too bad. All right, so let's get that to fit. And you know what? For just a quick little project there, we've not done too bad. We've added a moon picture of the moon in. We've got rid of the background on that. We've inserted another background, a cool kind of one that looks like it's come from the Hubble telescope or something like that. And then we've shown you how to insert a picture of me. Remember, that picture could be you moving forward. And we've used the AI tool to get rid of the background on that. And then we've inserted another file type, which was a PNG, and it was already had bits of it that are transparent. We've inserted that into our picture. And then we've added a blank layer and used some of the drawing tools so we can draw our own shapes in there. So in what, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, that's like one image that was me looking daft in my home office, into me looking daft getting abducted by aliens off the moon. Now obviously it was a bit of fun to do that, but what you've learned there are some skills that you can use on your own serious or not so serious photographs that you've taken with your camera or with your phone, and you've now got the option to put that into this free, I can't stress that enough, it is free, you don't need even to put your email address or anything like that, it's free, Pixlr.com, it's free online software, all you need is a computer, a browser and an internet connection, and there you go, you've got your online Photoshop Lite, Photoshop Express editing software that is available wherever you've got your computer. Still a few other things I want to show you. I want to show you how to save this and export it, and then I'm going to show you how to submit your photos to us for our little competition that we're going to run. But that would be a good point to just check in with Jack and see how you guys are doing out there on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope.
Yes.
How are we doing, guys?
Again, quite lucky. I'm going to take the silence as a positive sign.
Okay.
We do have people watching in, so don't worry there. But no, not really. Would you like to? Should we maybe push a poll out? Try and get some
definitely.
opinions on that?
Yeah. So what polls have we got?
So I'm wondering, are you going to try this with your own photo? So hopefully for our Facebook users, that should have now come up. To a point where you should be able to answer that and kind of just bob in with your opinions. And even if that hasn't come up, I'm going to ask it again. Just throw that in the comments, especially if you're on something like YouTube or Periscope, where sadly these interactive features don't work. So are you going to try this with your own photos? Please do let us know.
Yeah. This, as I've said, this isn't just, how to do it with the pictures that I've asked you to use or the ones that you've downloaded from our website. What hopefully it's doing is making you think, aha, I want to go away and do this. I want to do this with my pictures. So are you going to take some pictures and have to go at doing this yourself? Speaking of which, that would be a good point to show you to show you an example of that. So in a project that I took a little bit more time on than what we've kind of rushed through here, here's an example of a photo that I took when I was at the park with my 4-year-old daughter, and she is obsessed with climbing. That's about as high as she can go at the moment. So I thought, what would be really kind of cool and might also scare mummy is that if we Photoshop that so that it looks like that she's climbed a lot higher than she actually had. So using all of those tools that I've just shown you there, we were having a bit of fun with the UFO and me on the moon. We've got rid of where she was. We've moved her up onto a much higher kind of level. And then, so that's a little bit of fun that you can have, like moving things around the image. But if you'll notice, look a little bit more carefully, the original photo, you can't really see the clouds, and that's because technical term for that is just it's blown out or it's overexposed, and that information unfortunately is gone. You can't get that back. No amount of editing that image will ever bring those clouds back. So the image that you see on the right hand side is where I have found another picture of clouds and I've put them back in, or I've replaced the blown out clouds with the lovely clouds that you can see on the image on the right. And that's using the exact same techniques that we've just gone through by putting me on the moon. So yeah, we've kind of had a little bit of fun today, but as I've said, you've learned some really valuable photo editing skills that you can use seriously, or you can have fun with, or a bit of both. So yeah, enough of me waffling about what you've learned. Let's just say that you are done. And if you are done, you want to get your picture that you've been working hard on out of Pixlr into a file format that you can share with your friends, your family, or us. Ideally us. Send it to us. So let's jump back to Pixlr. And you'll be pleased to know that Pixlr does a pretty good job of saving your project as you go. This button down here that says save, what I think that would actually be more appropriately named is export. So don't be hitting this save button to think I'm saving my project. Pixlr does that for you as you go. What it actually means is I'm done and I want to save this picture out of Pixlr. I want to save it as something else. So when you click on save, it brings up this window and it says save image. We've got our file name that we typed in before. You can change it here if you want to. And then it says what file type do you want to put this out at. For the most part, JPEG is going to be absolutely fine for you. We did talk a little bit about PNGs before. Maybe if your image has got transparency and you want to keep that transparency in there, then you're going to want to choose a PNG. But for us, with a nice rectangular image that we've got now, JPEG is absolutely fine. It gives you some presets. It says what quality do you want this to go out at, low, medium or high, and it'll tell you the file size of that image depending on what option you've got selected up there. Now this only is really relevant depending on if file size is important to you. If you've not got much memory left on your phone or on your computer, then you're going to want to choose low. Or maybe if this is going onto a website and you're concerned about how fast things are going to download or how much space they're going to take up, then you could choose low. But if this was going to print, or if you wanted to put it out on Facebook or somewhere like that where we're not too bothered about the file size, then the higher the better really. So we want to choose high for that, and then when you're ready you just press download. And then because remember we are in browser, then that is just like you've downloaded that image from the internet. That image is now going to be saved in your downloads folder or wherever your images default to when you save things from the web. So for me, you can see it's right down here in my downloads, and if I click on it, there's the picture that I've just been working on, and that is a JPEG. I can send that as a text message, I can send it in WhatsApp, I can send it in an email, I can upload it to Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want it to go. So that's how you get your images out of Pixlr. And remember, because this is a project, what we can do is if we click on the home button right in the top left hand corner of Pixlr, you'll be taken to your project page where you can jump into other projects that you've got on the go. So there you can see there's one I made earlier, and there's the one that we've just made right now. So if I wanted to go back into there and make some other changes, maybe I want to add a spaceship or an astronaut or something up here, I can jump back in and add it into the project. And then it's just a case of pressing save again and resaving it to wherever you want it to go. So that is Pixlr, or it's certainly a bit of Pixlr. As you see, we didn't go through all of the tools on the left hand side. There is absolutely tons, and I invite you to have a little play around with some of those extra ones if you want to. But in terms of this workshop that I've gone through with you today, that is everything that I want to show you, apart from sending your pictures to us. So remember when we were on the Mako Create website earlier at the very, very start of this workshop, we went to the What's On section and we clicked on this very workshop that we are delivering right now. So if we scroll down, and remember you can catch up with it here, it's on YouTube, the embed is here if you want to play this video again. You can scroll down to the bottom, and in the orange box it says submit your awesome work here. Let us see what digital edit you've created before September the 1st. So you've got plenty of time, guys. Please don't rush. There's no prizes for getting it in first. I want you to take your time when it go away, take some photos, put them in Pixlr and have some fun editing them. But when you are done, all you need to do is click submit here, and you will be taken to a quick Google form. ask you some questions. We need the maker's name, your age, email address so we can contact you if your photo has been chosen. And this last little bit is upload your image here. So you just need to click add file and then find the picture that you want to upload and submit it to us. Just one quick note on that though, guys. In terms of you guys going away and taking photos, you need to remember that the photos that you take, you need to have permission. So when we say permission, that means taking photos of other people. You can't just run around taking photos of anybody that you like. It's always polite, good etiquette. Ask the person that you're taking a photo of if it's okay that you can do so. Some people don't like it. Also, if you want to start to save images from the web, we showed you before about using stock image websites, and Pixlr is plugged into Unsplash. Unsplash is royalty free. That means you're free to use them. Not every single image that you find online is free to use. Images are owned by people, just like any property, any other property. You can't just take whatever you want. So please make sure that you have used royalty free images, or it's a photo that you've taken where you've got permission for whoever is in that photo. So yeah, as long as you're doing all that, you fill this form in, send it to us, and then we will announce some of the winners and get those photos onto our social networks. We might even think of a prize that we can give you. We haven't got one right now, but we'll see what we can do. We can send something out to you. So that is everything I wanted to show you today. I hope you found it informative. Just before we go, I think it'd only be fair if we jump back to Jack and we just see how those comments and if we've had some questions from our polls come back in.
The pressure comes in there, doesn't it?
You're doing well, bud.
No, sadly not. I really hope that you are having fun. In my head, everyone is that stuck in with the photos and the reams of ideas they've come up with on the back of this video, but sadly no, we haven't had any comments or really any responses to our poll come in. But either way, I really cannot stress enough, I hope you have had fun today, and you can watch this back in your own time, and hopefully you've learned a thing or two as well.
Definitely. Jack had a play around with Pixlr a few days ago, and he did the Jack Shoe of Liberty.
Yes.
We should have loaded it up, shouldn't we, so that people could see it, but Jack superimposed his own face onto the Statue of Liberty, and it was pretty funny, got to admit. So yeah, just kind of really need to think outside the box here. I've given you the tools. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And are you going to have some fun? Also, we have got some not live stuff, but pre-recorded videos that have been going out, and there is a premiere for one of those on Friday. Have I got that right, Jack?
Yes, you have indeed. At 2 p.m.
2 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and that is going to be another photo editing video. So if you found this one particularly good and interesting, tune in on Friday at 2, did you say?
Yes, I did, 2 p.m.
And there'll be some more, and that also will be using Pixlr. We love it that much that there's loads that you can do in there. So if you found this interesting, you want to learn a little bit more without relearning stuff, without jumping into a whole other package, then you can kind of build on what you've learned today. If you tune in on Friday at 2 o'clock, and we'll be doing some other photo editing, graphic design kind of fun stuff with you there. Yeah. Once again, just a big massive thank you, a big shout out to Wirral Council and Wirral Libraries. Without you guys, it wouldn't have been possible to do this, so thank you so much. Yeah, I hope you've had fun, just to echo what Jack said before, and we can't wait to see what you guys produce. If you've missed any bits, rewind, recap, and other than that, yeah, I'm cool. Are you happy, Jack?
I'm incredibly happy, yes.
Cool.
And again, I'm just glad that everyone joined us today.
Yeah. Brilliant. All right, well, until next time, it has been my pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you at the next live stream. See you again.